Hi, and welcome to A Ghost in the Magazine. I'm Jay,
And I'm Elle.
and we are continuing Xenomonth with Aliens 3, easily the worst one.
I haven't
Uh,
watched two, so I can't really say. I watched the first one and this one, and then Prometheus, obviously.
you miss a little bit of the emotional turmoil that Ripley's gone through to get to here
Mm,
uh, without two, but two's more of it's less like a thriller or like a suspense builder, and it's more action-packed because there's Marines in it.
mm.
Uh, Yeah, Ripley with a rifle. Uh, this film faced so many issues during its creation. It passed hands to three different creative directors, I think, and it was David Fincher's um, first feature film. But he has since said disowned it. He doesn't want it. There
Damn.
was at one point, I believe, also a dog wearing a xenomorph costume. Supposed to be like the first one that like bursts out of the dog's chest. It was supposed to be a dog.
Okay. Um, so a couple of things. This isn't the worst movie I've ever watched, so I think it's pretty funny that he went so far as to disown it. Like, this isn't Bad Moon. This isn't Ginger Dead Man versus the Evil Bong. So I think you could just like dial it back, brother. That's a little melodramatic. Second of all, the dog was hilarious. That was the best part of the whole movie, just because it was weird as fuck. And you know I don't like violence being done on animals. It was not convincing that it was an animal at all. Just put it out.
The
Not
first
convincing.
10 minutes of this film, I was like, oh, Elle's gonna fucking despise this. Because not only was there like a dog dying, there was also a child being post-mortemed, and I was like, oh God,
It didn't
this
show
is
it
really
though,
bad.
at least not on the one that I saw. I didn't see the child until I like Googled
Oh,
what they
they didn't.
what they were saying. Yeah, I didn't see.
It was
Maybe it
just
was the
they
edit
only
that I was
showed the
watching.
chest being like
Oh,
tore
okay.
open for a split second. Yeah, yeah, that was rough. Um, so Sigourney Weaver throughout this Ripley
Hmm.
has a alien queen face chest burster in her chest, and she lasts what 10 days with it, and it
Hmm.
doesn't affect her.
Well, I mean,
And
she
then
does seem to get winded a few times, so it does something.
maybe it's the drug cocktails that she keeps getting injected with. It's like it's like knocking out the chest burster, baby.
Hmm.
But we really see in this film what you missed kind of, I think, in Prometheus is we see the sort of insidious nature of Weyland Yutani.
Mm.
Every one of their ships is like broadcasting everything they find back to them. That's very
Insidious
1980s.
though, or just like very like run of the mill normal capitalism. Like this, the fact that they would like have human beings be expendable because they want to use this as a bioweapon, and they would just, they know all about it, and they're already like two steps ahead conspiring against everyone that's just trying to like save humanity because they don't give a shit if it fucking gets out of the box. They don't fucking care. That is so capitalist. That's exactly what we just did with the goddamn pandemic.
You you're right. You're right. I don't think I don't think it's wrong to say that's insidious. It's just that's the nature of capitalism.
Yeah, it's
um,
insidious, but in an entirely expected way.
I tried to keep a lot of notes on this, but apart from like typing what was happening on screen, I only really saw a couple of things that I thought were interesting.
Mm,
Um, the cast, first of all, like huge stars of like British television are in this cast. You've got your man from Game of Thrones, Clement, who's the
mm.
Doctor.
Oh,
Um,
that's where I recognized him from. I was like, I recognize this guy from somewhere. I couldn't place it.
he was also, I believe, the Prime Minister in Ali G's movie.
Oh, okay, I would have known that too.
Sigourney Weaver, of course, like
Hmm.
the Queen, with a queen inside her, a Xeno Queen.
Mm,
A queenomorph. You have her. You've one of the guys that gets got. He played Satan in Being Human,
mm,
UK. Um, Another one of them was in Doctor Who. He was in the Planet of the Ood story, which is really interesting because it's like basically this, it's a base on a really shit world,
mm,
um, and they're being chased by an alien creature. It's an interesting parallel. And you
mm.
have the Eighth Doctor, Paul McGann, who is the crazy guy who is still chained to that bed to this day, I believe, because they never went back to let him go, and the alien didn't kill him.
I get what you're saying, and I can understand how, if you know what's going on here and you've seen these people before, you could tell them apart. But to me, they were just a bunch of old white men. That's all. Like the only.
That's very fair. The only one that stood out was the guy who was really into the religion.
Hmm.
And this is a bad thing to say, but it's the truth. The only reason he stood out is because he was black.
Yeah, he also
None of
didn't. He had like weird little glasses that he put on too a lot, and he kind of looked like a
he
Ninja
did.
Turtle. Like he just had I don't know, the
He was
bearing.
he was sturdy. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Like that everyone else is built the same way. They're all fucking Mayo guys. They all look like they all look like me and you. They're just
Yeah.
I don't know. It was
I
just
don't I mean, do you think me and you could, like, if we went bald like this, do you think we could go there?
probably.
I
I
love
couldn't
the name
tell us
of
apart from any of the other guys either.
I love the name of this planet. It's called Fury 616.
It
Um,
sounds like a fucking wrestling move,
yeah.
like Stone Cold Steve Austin doing the Fury 616.
um, One of the things I appreciated about this is it started and ended in very similar ways. Like the start, we had like clips of the face hugger like tripping the fire alarm and getting the pods ejected,
Hmm.
cut with like the credits, and then at the end you have clips of the guys leaving the place, interspliced with like some of the old school text across the screen.
Hmm.
I do like the technology in this, and it's explainable, I suppose, how it's like a downgrade from what we've seen in Prometheus,
Hmm.
because Prometheus was a fully funded space and science research mission.
Hmm.
This is a prison colony that is like no longer even like an ironworks. It's just sort of there.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lead works though. It's
A
different.
lead works. Yeah.
Just as somebody, I used to work in an aluminum foundry, and for me, when they said turn the sprinklers on, if you do that with molten aluminum, it explodes.
This film tries to do a lot and feels really it tries to be like a religious narrative with these nuts in their like monk cult.
Hmm.
It tries to be like a prison narrative, with the good doctor sacrificing himself and then he gets got within the first like 20 minutes. It's feeling at all of these things. It's not very interesting. The characters aren't very
No.
interesting.
And
Um,
like, if okay, so if this is supposed to be anti-capitalist and anti the world that capitalism makes, prisons are supposed to be reform places. But these guys are like, nah, I'm still a bad guy. I raped ladies. I kill people. It's like that's not very reformed. Like,
no, and I don't think that's what they're trying to do with these guys. Like, religion in this film is used very differently than the way it was in Prometheus, because it's not about finding God. It's not about discovering spirituality. It's about the dogma and
mm-hmm.
the doctrine and following rules. It's a set structure, kind of like prison, I suppose,
Yeah.
if you want to put it that way. And this is what these guys adhere to. It's It's not
Ah,
becoming closer with God because there is no God on Fury. There's only men who are afraid of God and afraid of themselves and what they've done,
yeah. So
what
they
they're
don't have the
capable.
structure of the prison anymore, so they need the structure of the religion.
It's about repression of knowledge. It's not about a repression of the self, really, rather than, you know, free reign that fucking Peter Whalen had. Uh, they did Ripley dirty in this film, I think, because she is so inconsistent in who she is throughout it. Like one moment she's a badass walking in, setting down her dinner, sitting with all these murderer guys, even when they said, no, we're bad guys. And she's, I don't fucking care, sits down.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the next, she is like almost a damsel in distress with Clemens,
Yep.
and they have a romance off screen. Like, what the fuck? They banged off screen.
He's like 100 years old too. I'm sorry, but it
He's
just
always looked like that, I think.
I'm just like, really? But I mean, Slim Pickens again, just like with Argento's Dracula. Sorry.
Something funny. We're recording this on the day of Charles III's coronation. The guy who plays Clemens also played Charles's great uncle or great great uncle, who was killed by the IRA in The Crown. Yeah, I love the song. The song that the guy who gets like shredded is singing.
Yeah. That
Uh,
song's on Futurama too, and it's actually a song.
it's a bop. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in year 2525.
Yep.
Fantastic song. Go look it up. Don't watch this film. Go look up the song though.
Yeah.
The alien looks real janky, but then again, it is 1992, and it's pretty much stop motion animation they're doing with it. But the
Yeah.
design's still there. Like it's a strong xenomorph has been around for so long because it's a iconic design.
The
I did
dog
like the.
thing though, dude. The
Oh,
dog.
did you look up the photo of it?
No, I didn't. Let me look it up. Hold on.
It's so funny because it's just a dog wearing like a xenomorph outfit.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Alien 3. I'm gonna look it up. I just remember like the transformation scene or like when it's popping out. It's so ridiculous looking.
It's great in that scene as well because you have the funeral interspliced with it, or the
Mm-hmm.
burning of the bodies. So it's the guy saying within every seed there's the possibility for life, and then you have the chest burster like bursting out at that moment.
Okay, I found it. It was way down in the results, so open image, a new tab. I want to look at this. Poor doggy. I mean, I hope he got compensated well, like lots of treats and pats for having to wear that costume. That explains why it looked so fucked up though, because I was like, what the I don't understand what I'm looking at here. It was one of those moments, but instead of like not comprehending like the story it was trying to tell me, I just like couldn't register what I was seeing on the screen.
One of the things I actually did enjoy about this film is a line of dialogue that Ripley says,
Mm.
where she's like hallucinating the head of a xenomorph that she's going to like jab with a stick, and she says, "You've been in my life so long, I can't remember anything else."
Mm. Yeah.
And I was like, if we do take, and I heavily adhere to the fact that Alien is a franchise that's basically about like sexuality, but also about motherhood and fatherhood. So if we take Ripley saying that with the alien inside her, it's like, yeah, this is your creation now almost, or it's a fear of what you could create. The corridor running scenes, we could have had less of those.
Holy shit, that was long. I remember like the
Mhm.
end. I was just like, can we just find out? Are they gonna get eight? If they're gonna get eight, let's get down with the eating, okay? Because I am very bored with all this running. It's
It didn't even eat them. It just sort of like got them with the tongue, with the inner mouth. It like
yeah.
bit them once and then stopped.
Okay, this might be another thing where I'm just stupid. Can this one like not put chest bursters and stuff so it has to like wait for the
So
queen? Is it like a bee? So it's like a worker
yeah,
bee? Okay.
yeah. So the one that's inside Ripley,
Mm-hmm.
is a queen.
Yeah.
So if it came out, and that gets touched on in the sequel after this, but we're not covering that film because it's crap. um,
Really?
eh, yeah,
It's
yeah,
worse
like
than this?
they brought back Ripley,
Mm.
but they as a clone, and then you have her sort of become like an alien hybrid creature. It- It's weird. It's weird. It's imagine the xenomorph, but with like a skull exoskeleton. Yeah, yikes.
I don't want to. So, okay.
The only good thing about the corridor chasing scene was that you got to see it from like the xenomorph's perspective
Mm.
because they don't have eyes, so clearly it's based on like smell or like sound. So you hear like the warbled voices and it following them.
So the sequel to this is Alien Resurrection,
Yep. Resurrection.
and it has Winona Ryder in it too. Like those are some big star power. That's some big star power there between Sigourney Weaver and Winona Ryder, and it was still a pit pile of shit. Great.
It was Sigourney Weaver in 1997.
Yeah. Oh, Ron Perlman's in it too.
Mhm. It came out the same year that I was born. And 25 years later, 26 years later, we're still talking about these films. The set design of Alien 3, I can't fault. Like, it feels like a real grimy industrial place.
Yeah.
Um, which, it makes up for the fact that we don't see a lot of outside of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they tried to compensate for that with Prometheus and Alien Covenant because they film a lot on location in Alien Covenant. And I think they did for Prometheus as well. I think they filmed in Iceland for all that sort of volcanic looking environment.
It was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects, 7 Saturn Awards, a Hugo Award, and an MTV Movie Award. That is surprising to me that it was
But
nominated for so many awards, but
that the MTV one was.
well, it was the one at the end. No, but I just was surprised that this one was one that, got any attention like
Well, this is
from
coming off the back of one and two, and one and two are very strong films. Um, one came out in the 80s, which if we're going by like the standards of horror, then you have the final girl
Mhm.
trope, yeah, but Ripley's more than that. She is a badass. She's capable. It's interesting that throughout this franchise, the protagonist and the antagonist are both female.
Mm.
And this goes into the prequels as well. I mean, you have Elizabeth Shaw, you have the um the female lead in Alien Covenant, whose name slips my mind right now, and then you have Ripley throughout the rest of them. Like, it's built on strong women, this franchise,
Yeah.
even if they're surrounded by a sausage fest.
Yeah, it does seem that. It's
What did you think of the bishop prop, like the head and the like gooey eye?
which one is that? Hold on.
He was the synthetic that was basically torn up except for an arm and
Oh,
like
oh, oh,
eyes.
yeah. Um, I don't know. It was again that reminded me there was like an episode where actually like of Star Trek The Next Generation, of course, where like Data gets blown up and then like I think his brother is involved, Lore, who's like evil Data, and they're like putting pieces back. It just reminded me.
I have kept it together and not talked a lot about Doctor Who. You can do that with Star Trek.
I will try, but that's like the only like sci-fi
I'm,
franchise that I
I'm
really know
joking. It's
anything
fine.
about. So,
Um, the guys at the end, like revealing that Bishop, the android Bishop, was like based on a real person. I feel like the guy at the end that tries to talk. Ripley into like giving him the Xeno fetus.
I'm just gonna say, Data and lore are based on their creator as well. So
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying. This is all
So
going on around the same time too. Like that Star Trek The Next Generation is late 80s or early
well
90s,
this
so
oh, you're right. Yeah. Okay. Because I was gonna say this film actually is set like 100 years after the events of Prometheus.
oh, we're not even yeah, no. I don't even know. I can't remember what Star
It's like the
Trek's
51st century, isn't it, or
yeah, it's
something
like
like
way
that?
ahead. Yeah. There it's like a great communist society. Like this is a
It
dystopia
is. Yeah.
and Star Trek's utopian, so
I fully believe that Blade Runner takes place in this universe because they
mm,
have synthetics in Blade Runner as well. They have people or robots made to look like people. Why not? Well, the only issue there is like the synthetics in Blade Runner aren't built to last. They last like 5 years at most, whereas the synthetics in Alien last forever.
yeah. Well, that's how Star Trek is too. But see, that's communist like manufacturing capability. The Blade Runner stuff is more like what you get in capitalism, like planned obsolescence. Like we have like a TV that only works for 2 years.
Fuck capitalism.
Yeah,
We don't say that
capitalism
enough in this
fucking
podcast
sucks.
because
I this
that's
is for
who's the
capitalism.
real that's who's the real villain in this in Aliens. It's Weyland Yutani.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been Weyland. It's always been Weyland.
Who's very like we have lots of arch capitalists that kind of make themselves to look like that sort of character. I think like we hit on
Mhm.
Elon Musk last time and it gets
Well, the
fitting.
guys in the prison, they look a lot like Jeff Bezos.
They all do. That's the problem. I can't tell them apart.
They have a hobbit exterior, but they have an orc physique, which is a line that I've stolen from epic rap battles of history. How many chuds does this film get?
I don't know. I gave the last one 2, so I guess I don't know. This okay. If the last one's 2, this is like 1.75 because I'm not gonna give it 1.5 because that's what I gave Terrifier or whatever. That one was fucking awful. That was a
Mhm.
boring movie. So this is better than that. Um,
Because
I
at least something happens in this film.
yeah.
The use of the xenomorph, like at this stage, we know what it is. We're not scared of it. If it was more like dark corridors and you sort of like thought you saw it, but no, it's just out in the open in this
Hmm.
film whenever we do see it. And we don't see it for very long is the issue. And I know it's because it's a guy in a suit, but that's no excuse.
It's the guy in a suit.
It's a guy in a suit. So Aliens 3, not not for me.
Yeah.
And I think this is actually the last one of Xenomonth, Aliens 3.
Oh, really? So I'm on the first one and the last one then. Cool.
Yeah, the ones in between you weren't. At any rate, thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, you can follow us on Twitter at GITM Podcast, or you can find ours on our website,
Our website,
ghostinmagazine.site.
yes. And we're also on
And
YouTube now.
you can follow our YouTube as well, which is just Ghost in the Magazine.
Hmm.
Um, if you want to follow us, you can follow me at J Raverty Poet.
And you can follow me at Nocturnical.
Okay, bye.